Welcome to this reading, which asks the question, are you the final girl? Do you have what it takes to survive the night? In this reading, we'll look at the challenging energy, what you're up against, your final girl energy, the energy that you need to embody in order to survive the night, and the key to your success. We have three piles here. We have Death with the Tarot of the Divine, Justice from the Pulp Tarot, and the World from the Santa Muerte Tarot. Whenever you're ready, the timestamps are down below. I'll see you there. Alright, for those of you who were drawn to Death from the Tarot of the Divine, this is going to be your reading. Now, before I begin, if you didn't notice, I completely forgot to record your preparation, like where I shuffle the cards and I show you what I do. And I was just so excited to hop into this reading and get started on this. I really like the idea of the whole final girl thing, so I just was so ready to hop into it that I didn't realize I wasn't recording until I had it all set up like this. But anyways, here we are. On this side, we have the challenger, the villain per se, what you are surviving against. And on this side, we have the energy that you need to embody, your final girl energy, basically. What you need to embody in order to succeed with what we're talking about here. And I also picked out 3 tarot cards which answer the question of your key to success, how it is that you're going to succeed here. So what you're up against, basically the energy that you need to embody in order to succeed, and how it is that you're going to succeed. Now, here on this side, this card shows a being. The booklet describes her as a mother goddess, but I do understand that part of the Mesoamerican understanding of like deities was different than like Western understanding, so it's not so much that they were gods and goddesses. I'm not really sure how, like, I don't know that there's a word in English to describe what they were. I know that there's a word in like the native Nahuatl, but I don't know it myself. The point being, this is, I'm going to refer to it as a deity. I don't know what else to refer to it, how else to refer to her. But she represents, it says earth and the moon, sex and birth, and that she defends life and fertility. And so she's shown devouring a centipede, which I guess devours life, and that she was also considered to be purifying in the sense that one could confess their sins to her, and like the centipede, she would devour the sin. So this idea of life as the challenger, and that sounds horrible, like your entire life is a challenge. No, that's not so much what I'm getting, but seeing as how she represents life and creation, and there, I gave it away, fertility, life and fertility, I got this idea of creation. So the challenge for you, what you are up against, is you and creation, like just your creativity, what comes out of you in a creative manner. And a lot, like the rest of the cards really show there being you having a natural talent for something. And this could be like a creative talent, of course, but I don't know. I'm being vague because you need to apply it to your circumstance. There's something that you have the capacity to create that you struggle to create because of a thing with confidence, but we'll get into that. Bullet point, what I was basically saying that whole time is that what I'm getting from this card is that the struggle that you're up against is creation. And again, yes, that could be creativity, but however you define creation in this moment. Lenormand, as an elaboration of what this is talking about, the whip can be punishment, but it's also something consistent, something that like happens over and over again, something that you like keep at it. The house being home and hearth, and the stork being about being delivered, something being taken from A to B. And before I get into the message of the Lenormand, I want to talk about how the stork is also about birth, and like babies, because storks, in the olden days, people kind of equated childbirth to like a stork delivering a baby. And Goose in this Lenormand deck is the equivalent of stork in Lenormand, so it came up twice. So that really supports that idea for me of this card really being talking about the challenge that you're facing, being things that you create, something that you create. And consistency in the whip, because of it, how I said like you keep at it, it's something that you keep at. And the house being home and hearth gives me this idea of something that's a habit, something that like feels as familiar to you as your home is. So like let's say this creative talent that you have is like drawing, and you don't feel like you have a talent, but it's because you struggle. This is your challenge. You struggle with keeping at it and making a habit out of it, familiarizing yourself with this art form so that you can call yourself like an artist of that art form. And because you struggle with the consistency and the habit making, there is no delivery. There's no successful delivery. What you need to embody, really interesting. I love the way that it came out, because with the archetype it came out reversed, which I in this deck take as the shadow attribute. And so the shadow attribute for Prince, the final girl energy that you need to embody in order to succeed, is what it says: using power for self-aggrandizement. And obviously out of context we can see how like the shadow attribute of a prince, that can be defined that way, like they using power to self-aggrandize. Like a prince's real power is only because of who their dad or mom is, and so the power isn't directly theirs, but they use that power to like make themselves important. And so again, out of context, this seems like a really negative thing, but the way that I see it, especially as the answering of the question of like what is it that you need to embody in order to succeed, and it coming up as the challenger to this challenging energy. So if your challenge is creation and creativity, what you need to do is use your power to self-aggrandize, and that you're getting this as advice on how to win against what you're up against. That's what kind of gave me that idea of you maybe struggling with self-confidence, like I mentioned earlier. You're not going to tell someone who doesn't struggle with confidence, you're not going to tell a cocky person, you should self-aggrandize more. No, you're not, because they don't need that medicine. But someone who doesn't even aggrandize, someone who, kind of struggles with a baseline of confidence, for someone who's under the baseline of like, a little under the baseline for confidence, who struggles with confidence, to that person, to that individual, they will benefit from hearing you need to self-aggrandize more. And it's not about, like, if you struggle with confidence, or let's call it like it is here, self-aggrandizement, because you don't want to be cocky, or you have a frame of reference where, you knew someone really confident or overconfident, and you just don't want to be that way. Understand that this card kind of answered that to me too, kind of how the book said that she was considered to be a purifying energy that you could confess your sins to. And in order to like confess your sins, you have to know them, you have to be aware of them. And sins is just another way of looking at like faults, if we're going to remove sin from the context of religion. So it's like being self-aware, being aware of one's own faults, and forgiving yourself for it, because that's what she does. She forgives, and it being a challenge, you it being a challenge for you to forgive. And all of these things, individual ideas, kind of paint to me the picture of kind of, again, you kind of struggling with a self-confidence, the confidence necessary to believe in yourself and your skills, your gifts, in order to keep at it, make a habit out of it, and have it deliver, or you deliver something with it. Bouquet is the card that like symbolizes a gift, kind of like bouquets tend to be gifts from someone else, but in this context I kind of see it as like your natural gifts. Goose, again, is like stork, so it's like delivering something, getting it from A to B. And ship is like a long distance, going a long distance. So both of these cards about like going from A to B, moving things from one place to another. But this one is about being like delivered, like how do I want to word this? Like the goose is quicker energy, because it's like stork. It kind of like a shipment. You know it's coming. You know it's on its way. There's this set amount of time for which this thing can be delivered. But ship, it's like just you having the capacity to just keep on going, to go anywhere at all, but then to keep going past that, to just go as far as you need to go, going the distance. And so bouquet, natural gifts, goose, delivering something, ship, going the distance. What you need to embody in order to succeed here is to tap into your natural gifts and acknowledge them. Acknowledge that you have natural gifts that it's your responsibility to hone and to form, and to use those gifts to deliver. And sorry, let me rephrase that. To deliver those gifts to wherever it is that they need to be delivered to. If your talent is like an art form, like writing or painting or whatever the case is, then you obviously art, well, I don't know if that's obvious, but most art forms are meant to be for an audience. It's meant to be public. It's meant to be for like open consumption. But if your gifts, if we're talking about here like, I don't know, tarot, and you want to start learning how to read for yourself, that's not something that some of us are called to read for others, some of us just read for ourselves. Whatever the case is for you, then again, the natural gift that you have, that you then have to deliver to wherever it is that it needs to be delivered to. And if that's to an audience, or if it's just to yourself or to a set group of people, whatever the case is, there is a gift that you have that it is your responsibility to hone, form, and then deliver. And in learning how to do that, in learning how to not only hold your gift, but to work at it, to perfect your craft, and in learning what it means to deliver that craft and having it be perceived, even if it's just by yourself, that in learning how to do that, learning what it means to take that and go the distance with it, to live with this talent, to make a space for it in your life and progress through your life with it as this thing now a part of your life. Repeating life a lot. But okay. The challenge of creativity, the challenger being creativity, creation, habit forming, keeping at it, and then delivering. And the energy that you need to embody in order to succeed is self-aggrandizement. More like that sounds, that because of the way that like things are sort of shaped by the patriarchy and the way that we think, self-aggrandizement is like very vilified, and obviously it's worded that way because it's a shadow attribute. But in the context of this reading, it's more about just stepping into your self-confidence, and just confidence in and of itself, just wielding it and acknowledging who it is that you are and what it is that you can do, acknowledging your gifts, delivering those gifts, and in doing those things, learning how to go the distance with your gifts. How to succeed, the advice basically on your key to success here. We have the Two of Coins reversed, the Five of Cups, nice, the Two of Wands, 2 and 2 on either side of the Five of Cups. That's nice, that's neat. Give me a second to read these. So To go individually with each individual card, the Two of Coins reversed refers to a decision being made, and not so much as like a decision being made after contemplating two decisions and like there being a stagnancy there. It's more so like it's more like when we've been maintaining something for whatever amount of time, and that's what the Two of Coins upwards represents. It's maintaining of the dance. So you see how like her feet are moving, and she's carrying like two kids. And I mean, I've tried to carry one kid, and that's, when they're unruly, and that's almost impossible. And she's got two of them, and they're unruly because I don't know if you can see, but like they're basically half bears. So like this little baby has the top of a baby but like the legs of a bear, and then this other little baby has the top portion of a bear but the legs of a human baby. So there's a lot going on. She's struggling. She her face, look at it. She's struggling, and there's no sure footing. There's again the maintaining of a dance, of a balancing act, and sometimes that's called for. But reversed, it's us kind of stopping the dance. It's us putting one thing down in order to like get a grip and continue on with what we need to do. Now in in this story, I doubt that she's gonna leave one of these bears behind. I think they're her brothers in the story. But again, the idea of the Two of Coins reversed being of us stopping the dance that we've been maintaining for a long time, for the reason of relief. Like we want relief from this dance that we've been maintaining, and kind of the Two of Coins can represent what happens there. Like, are we going to pick the other coin back up and continue with the dance? Like, did we just need a little bit of relief? Or is this thing that we've put down, is that something that we're ready to leave behind? The Five of Cups, traditionally in the Rider-Smith traditions, depict three cups that are tilted over, and thus their contents are spilled. And there's always the two cups, most often behind the character, that are still upwards. And so this idea of acknowledging what is lost, what is gone, but there also being the truth of what still exists, of what is there, whether we're acknowledging it right now or not. And the Two of Wands is an understanding of how the past and how it has shaped the present is actively shaping the future. So the Two of Wands really is this understanding of like where you've come from, and how where you've come from has played a big role in where you are at right now, and how those two things, where you've come from and where you're at right now, are literally together creating the future. And when I said that, creating, it reminded me again of creation here. So neat. Anyways, these cards, two coins, two of wands, two cups back here, two tutus, really nice. So maybe there is someone you're like, no, because this doesn't feel like a person. I don't think that's a person. Never mind. What these three cards tell me collectively as an answer to the question of your key to success in this challenge. The Five of Cups is an echo to me of what we were saying here, where there's this acknowledgement of your faults, these spilled cups, the things that really block you from your creativity or this creation. The things that make this a challenge. There needs to be an honest acknowledgement of that, and not only an acknowledgement of that, but like you gotta feel it, like you gotta get into it. This is La Llorona, and so she's mourning her children that she killed in a bout of madness. And like these 3 cups could represent like the things that caused her to go mad, that the things that really caused her to go over the edge, and the 2 cups behind her could be the things that she's ignoring, the 2, or however many, I think it was 2 kids, the 2 children that she had, that she sort of lost sight of in the losing herself in that grief. And so obviously I don't think that you have 2 kids that you're ignoring in your grief, and if that's true for you, I don't think that you're La Llorona here. It's more so, what I'm getting from this card is that you do need to feel the weight, the dark stuff, and you might feel better enabled to if you are willing to rely on the good stuff that does exist in your life. Again, this idea of understanding the gifts that you do hold, but also the faults. And if not the faults, then just like you remaining honest with yourself as an answer to you not wanting to be like cocky, you not wanting to be overconfident, or whatever it is that you just don't want to be, the things that you're trying to avoid. The answer here being is an honest approach to it, but not just an honest approach to it, a willingness to get into those honesties and not like shy away from it. These 2 cards kind of, I feel like they're just supporting that message, where the 2 of Coins is about taking a decisive action to get into that, where maybe what you've been maintaining, what this card is referencing, is the ways in which you've maintained your disconnect from your creativity, the ways in which you've convinced yourself you don't have gifts, the ways in which you sort of maneuver around the fact that you do have gifts but you kind of like suppress them or whatever. That could be one of the things. And then here, reverse, it's like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. I don't want, because it's costing you. When you're being honest about it, this thing that you're maintaining, it is an effort. It is a strain. And in stopping that strain, when you realize that there's a relief in accepting your gifts, accepting what it is that you can do, what it is that you have to offer, and getting into like, this just screams to me like getting into, like, diving into your grief. And I don't say that because I get from these cards that you have a lot of grief to carry, and if that's true, then yeah, this is also, what I'm about to say also applies. But it's more so just because you shied away from your creativity, you've never dived into it. And the 5 of Cups is basically telling me you need to dive into this thing that you've been suppressing, avoiding, running away from for this long. And so this card being like decisive action, like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then this being like, okay, diving in. I'm going to do it. I'm going to dive in. And in doing that, in diving in, getting this awareness of why... Okay. There's a lot to word here, and I want to word it carefully. So, on the one hand, the 2 of Wands is referencing how when you start to do this, when you take decisive action to dive into who it is that you are and what it is that you can do, one of the things that's going to happen is you'll start to get a clearer understanding of things that happened in your past and things that are going on in your present, and how, like, things in the past and the present that have to do with this, with your creativity, and how it's been a challenge for you. That's one of the things that you're going to get clarity on. But also, on the other hand, what it's also telling me is in doing this, it'll start to shape a future for you. Because again, this card is not only about the past and the present, it is about how those 2 things are actively creating the future. This card is definitely a card about the future, and it landed over here on the right side, which is traditionally associated with the future. There is a future for you, a sure one, should you pursue this creative thing, this creation thing that you struggle with. But it will take decisive action. It will take you stopping something, you putting an end to something that you've maintained for a long time. And not only that, which that's already scary. Changing something you've been doing for a long time, that's already scary. But diving into something you've been avoiding for however long, that's also scary. Double whammy. So that's what the twos is about. But in doing those things, in achieving these things, you'll also achieve this clearer understanding of the bigger picture and an idea of the future that you can create for yourself with this. And if you pursue it, and if you accept it, and yourself, and what it is that you have to offer. And I do have to mention it. Another one of the things that I was kind of also got from the Two of Wands, and it's attached to that idea of how it gives you a glimpse of the future that you could build for yourself here. There is also this idea, it just kind of came where beyond you getting a clearer understanding of the past, present, and the future as it pertains to this creativity that we're talking about, there's also wisdom to be gained, just an understanding of why things happen the way that they happened, why things are the way that they are for you in the present, and why it is that you're heading where it is that you're heading. And it feels like, yes, you will, in pursuing this, you'll gain a clearer understanding of the past, present, and future as it pertains to your creativity. But beyond that, in doing all of that, you'll also gain this life wisdom in understanding why in life certain things had to happen, beyond just your creativity, just with you and your life. I hope this helped. I will catch you for the next one. Bye. Alright, for those of you drawn to the Justice card from the Pulp Tarot, this is your reading. Now, over on this side, we have the challenger, the villain in your story. What is it that you're trying to survive against? Basically, the challenge in your life right now. And here we have the final girl energy, your final girl energy, the energy that you're being advised to embody at this time in order to succeed against this challenge. And there's also 3 tarot cards that were picked out to answer the question of your key to success in this challenge. Now, to get started. Oh, and the Lenormand cards are basically to elaborate what these 2 energies are. Okay, so this one's really juicy. I'm sorry, I have to say that as the reader and as someone who has been in this situation and who's now out of it and has survived this particular night, this is juicy. And it's actually very clear cut, so let me just get into it. We have this card, which is basically masculinity, scythe, which is ending, ring, which is commitments, or something long-standing, something that you've been committed to a long time, a while, letter, communication. This is someone you've been talking to, whether this someone you've been talking to is masculine or not. This is representing someone whom you've been in communication with for a long time, and you having an understanding that that should have come to a close a long time ago, and if not a long time ago, then this is something that should be coming to a close. This is something that needs to end. Scythe. This commitment needs to end. The scythe is like going towards that commitment. And this is the challenge. This is the villain. This is what you're up against. And that's tough. I know. This is something that's going to be more than one night. And I mean, what problem is solved in one night, really? Only in movies. But anyways, to continue, what you're up against is the challenge of this communication long-standing that you now know needs to come to an end, that you know needs to end. Your final girl energy, the energy that you need to embody in order to succeed here. Gambler in its light attribute says willingness to follow intuition. I said that weird. Let me start again. Willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. So in this case, I think you might be the others who doubt you here, where it's not so much that you doubt yourself. It might be more so that you doubt it'll be better on the other side. You doubt, in some cases, and I'm just gonna say it's what's coming to mind. It's like you feel like it won't be better without this person in your life, regardless of how chaotic, if not shitty, this person makes you feel, and how shitty and or chaotic they make your life. And I'm only describing them as such because this is something that's being described as the villain in your story, which is how I posed the question. I was getting these cards as well, who is the villain in Pile 2's story? And we got this, and it's something that you're being advised to end things with. So you're only going to be advised to move away from someone, to end communication with someone who serves no purpose in your life, isn't really going to contribute to where you're at in life now or any progression of your life moving forward. if someone was going to contribute to those things, you wouldn't be getting the advice to end things with this person. So this is someone that you know you're not vibing with, that can't come along with you on this next part of your life. And this next part of your life requires, well, ending things here requires that you trust your intuition, and that trust, that allowing yourself to be guided by your intuition, by yourself, will lead you into this new phase of life that you're sensing this person cannot come with you with, to that new phase of life. Lenormand elaborates on this, that you need to move like your luck, like your comfort, like the good things that, and if it's not luck, like if you've, okay, let me rephrase that. Horseshoe is a representation of luck, of something good but short-lived. And that can be a representation of what this person provides. Things that are good, but that in the big picture, you know, aren't all that great. Things that really only provide instant gratification, but in the long haul, really isn't something you can take with you. Again, if it was something that was meant to be long-lasting, it would be able to come with you into the new phase of life. But horseshoe, luck, it's energy that's just quick and just right now. It's not something that's going to last. And hammock is this deck's representation of coffin, and that's endings, bringing things to a close. So bringing this energy of things that are short-lived, instant gratification, what this person provides, understanding that needs to come to a close, and moving in accordance to that discomfort, because that is a discomfort, to get rid of something that does provide gratification, even if it's not to the scale that you need it now. At some point, this was enough, and it is difficult to move away from that, but you're being advised now to understand that part of your life where that was enough is over, and so this thing that provided that thing which was not enough needs to be left behind. And you need to understand that is going to be uncomfortable, but that you are equipped to handle that journey. You're equipped to adapt to those discomforts, and in fact, once you're there and maneuvering through that discomfort, find that it's not that uncomfortable at all. In fact, you'll find nothing but relief away from the chaos of all of this. Earlier, I kind of noticed that each of these cards is a translation for this deck. So they're both Lenormand decks. And this one's more traditional. It holds the traditional names for the decks you'll find in most Lenormand decks, so Scythe, Ring, Letter. But in this deck, the artist kind of changed some of the cards to better, I think, fit their art style. So instead of coffin, like this is a very lighthearted deck. So instead of coffin, it's hammock. So like rest and repose. And in traditional decks, it's clover, but here it's horseshoe. And goose is stork, but here it's goose. And it's just, each of these is a translation. And why that's interesting to me is that, because all the other cards, not all of the cards are translations. Like here, there's bear, I grabbed just a random one. And here I'll grab the next one, it's mice. Like these appear in traditional, these two cards, mice and bear, appear in traditional decks. But these three cards, and I think there might be another one in there, but I can't remember which one it is, they're translated. The names are changed in order to better suit the deck. And you got three of those. That's really interesting to me. And that, so gambler is someone who like kind of bets on chance and luck, and then you got three cards out of maybe four of the whole deck, which is also like chance. It's kind of lucky. So like there's a lot of luck, there's a lot of like fortune that's on your side, and maybe that's a part of why you stayed here so long, is because, well, so far nothing bad has happened, and maybe that's because you've been so lucky. Maybe that's because you've been so protected thus far. Maybe because your intuition has been guiding you even when you've not really noticed it, or even when you haven't really acknowledged that you're being guided by it. And it's like, that's going to run out. That's going to come to a close eventually. And when it does, you're going to have to run, kind of like she is. Goose, which again is this card's iteration of stork, this card, stork, goose, it's about delivering, being delivered from A to B, moving from A to B. The journey, and it's a quick journey, it's moving quickly. And so this idea of like your luck ending and you having to run, which is appropriate to this idea of surviving the night. What that tells me, kind of what I was saying, right? Where you need to understand that this thing that they provide, which feels like luck, this instant gratification, that needs to come to a close. And in doing that, you'll be able to move from A to B. You'll be delivered from here into this next phase of your life. Yes, that is definitely that's one of the messages that I'm getting from these three cards. But another one is that if you continue to stay comfortable here, your luck as the gambler will run out. Your luck will run out, and then you'll have to run. Then you'll have to adapt to that situation. So you either get ahead of it and trust yourself now and move as such, move in acknowledgement that this is something that cannot, it's short-lived. It's something that has to come to a close. It's something that cannot come with you. You can get ahead of it by doing that, or you can continue to gamble here, wait until your luck runs out, and then you'll have to run. Real clear, real point blank. To answer the question of your key to success, how you will survive the night. I'm sorry. Oh my god. I'm only laughing because, like I said, I've been here where I need to cut ties, and I got this card would come up so much and all that. Temperance reversed, because it's us not being able to control ourselves around this person. It's us, like, once they come into the picture, our temperance goes out the window. Like, there's no control. And this is in the past. So we're leaving this lack of self-control in the past. In the present, the Emperor is, again, masculinity, this masculine energy. Again, we're not applying gender here. This could be a woman, the girliest girl you know, the most genderless they you know. It doesn't matter. That masculinity is it's just a way for the energy here to let me know that we're talking about one individual. That's it. And it's coming up reversed. This individual that's being represented here in the present is being then blocked. You are blocking that energy. You're reversing it. No more of this Emperor energy. I will not let you come in and dominate my life the way that you have, because that's what the Emperor does. It only dominates. And you're saying no to that. And in doing that, you make the Nine of Cups energy available to yourself. You gain access. That's what I was trying to say. You gain access to the Nine of Cups energy, which is wealth. A wealth of a wealth of emotion. But I guess when I say that, what came to mind is, like, to be wealthy is to have a lot of, and a lot of emotions isn't necessarily a good thing. But this is good emotions. A wealth of good emotions, being happy, overabundant, having enough, and more than enough, being able to share what you have. So it's like this wealth of joy. So leaving your lack of control in the past, blocking this person from your life, leaving them out of your life in the present, in order to gain access to true and abundant joy in the future. I told you, clear cut but brutal. Take it from someone who has survived. You can do it. Also, they suck. I hope this helped. I'll catch you for the next one. Bye. Alright, for those of you called to the world card from the Santa Muerte Tarot, this is your reading. Now, on this side, we have the villain of your story, the challenger, the thing that you're surviving against. And so we have this card to represent its basic energy, that challenging energy, and 3 Lenormand cards to elaborate on it. An archetype card, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So that's the villain on this side. And on this side, we have the final girl energy, the energy that you need to embody in order to succeed against this challenger. And so we have 1 card again, 3 Lenormand cards to elaborate on that. We also have 3 tarot cards answering the question of your key to success against this challenging energy. Now, on this side, we have the ruler of the underworld. And this is someone, he's eating a body. And so this idea, since he's the ruler of the underworld, the consumption of the body is meant to symbolize the way that the physical form, once death has touched it, decomposes it. And that's part of the process of the soul's entrance into the underworld, into the afterlife. There has to be a deconstruction of something in order for another thing to begin. Now, before I continue, I do want to say that on this side, with this energy, this is really specific, and we'll get to the point with that. But with the challenging energy, I get it could mean 2 separate things, and I think that's definitely going to depend on your specific circumstance. This is a general reading. Different people are gonna come and click on this reading, and so what this tells me is that the people who are called to this will be dealing with very distinct situations, and so I'm going to tread carefully. On the one hand, and it's 2 things that I'm saying. A, this is a specific person, someone who is a leader in a public setting that speaks, like they're a public speaker and they hold authority in that kind of area, or they're a public speaker because they're an authority figure, or they're like a boss who like does a lot of meetings and they're very comfortable speaking with a lot, like in public with a lot of people, and they're like embodied by this kind of energy that deconstructs things. Maybe in this energy as like the thing that you're surviving against, this could be someone who's breaks things down in a bad way, like they tear people down, they shoot ideas down, they like to tear people and things down. Kind of, maybe it also gives me like this idea, like a gluttonous idea or a gluttonous energy, because he's just consuming a body, and again it has its own symbolism. But in the context of this being like a challenging energy, just to kind of give you ideas, this is one of the energies that I got, like someone who just kind of selfish, kind of gluttonous, kind of comfortable shooting things down or people down, and someone who holds authority, and because of that authority speaks in public, or they speak in public and they hold power in that, or whatever the case is. If that's true, if there's someone in your life like that is a challenging energy, then that's what this reading is about. If that isn't true, then what this challenging energy is, we'll go backwards, we'll start here, is one of what you might struggle with is finding the strength to speak publicly. Because this is speaking, a group of people talking, and this is being in public, and this is strength. And these just 3 cards idea just give me the idea of you finding the strength to speak in public. And this energy here talking about part of that challenge, why you struggle with that, is you struggle to take your ideas and churn them, like, because he's digesting, right? So he's eating it, and in eating it he's deconstructing it and turning it into something else. So there's like this alchemization, digestion. But like what I'm seeing here in this energy of you finding the strength to speak publicly or speak with people, if it's not about speaking publicly, it could just be like you just have a hard time talking with people. What this is saying is that part of the challenging energy there is that you have ideas and you have a hard time getting those across to people. You have a hard time taking your ideas and matching the words that come out to those ideas. And okay, so that's what we're getting for the challenging energy. Either A, this is someone very comfortable shooting things and people down, gluttonous, that kind of energy, who speaks in public and they hold authority, or their authority and that's why they speak in public, or if they don't speak in public they talk to a lot of people, and they're comfortable doing so. Or B, it's you having a hard time speaking to people or in public and you finding the strength to do that and being able to do so by addressing the ways in which you struggle to translate your words, your ideas, into words that can get across to the people that you want to talk to. And so the final girl energy that we're touching upon here, we have the artist reversed, which is its shadow attribute, and it reads: using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as the starving artist to elicit pity. And given that it's the shadow attribute as the answer to the energy that you need to embody in order to succeed here, we need to tread carefully when we take this advice, because basically what you're being told to do is to use your talent. Okay, see, here it says mistreat, but the word mistreat literally means to treat someone wrong, to treat someone in a way that they do not deserve. And maybe that's why you struggle to stand up against this person, or maybe that's why you... Okay, let's break this down slowly. Let me go slow. Mistreat, because that's the word that we use here in this card, means to treat someone in the way that they don't deserve. But in the context of this reading, and as the answer is the energy that you need to embody in order to succeed here, it gives me the idea that you need to start getting more comfortable with treating people the way that they deserve to be treated. So whether this is someone specific, if this is talking about, again, we're talking about a specific person, maybe part of the reason why this is a challenging energy to use because you're the type of person who likes to give the benefit of the doubt. You like to keep things non-confrontational. You'd like to keep the peace, and so you'd rather just not cause any problems with this person. But the thing is that this is someone who deserves for people to step up to them, and maybe you are well positioned or well equipped to do so, and it's time for you to step into that energy so that you can do so. So again, it's not so much about mistreatment like this card says, which we're all translating things for the context of where it landed. It's more so about you getting comfortable with treating people. That's kind of the way I'm translating that, where in maybe you looked at it as like mistreating someone if you stand your ground, or if you match energies with someone. But sometimes that's what needs to be done, and that's why it's coming up as what is the final girl energy for you. What's the energy that you need to get into? You need to mistreat people. But again, that's not what we're saying. It's not about you treating people in a way that they do not deserve. No, it's about you getting comfortable with treating people the way that they deserve. And this is especially true if you are someone who struggles with that, like with acknowledging that, you do need to apply some stronger energy in some places, because that's just the only way that that's the only thing that some things react to, or some people react to. Now, to get into the Lenormand, we have stars, which is all about navigation. Like, think about how we used to use the stars to navigate through the night. So it's like using a map, and different cultures had different names for different constellations and different understandings of the stars. And so this idea of like old handed down knowledge, so another way of saying intuition, like internal knowledge, and using that to like guide us. So internal knowledge, internal guidance. Clouds is pretty much like just, I want to just say just sadness, but it's clouds in Lenormand represents just anything that clouds over something else. So it's like clouding your judgment, clouding your internal guidance, something that clouds your internal guidance. And in order to clear out those clouds and gain access to your internal guidance again, tower, which is solitude. And it's not so much the advice of go be by yourself, get away from people who make you feel like this. No, it's more so trusting the self. So in order to get clear on your internal guidance, you need to start trusting yourself, because that's where your internal guidance is coming from. And this idea of trusting the self attached to the shadow attribute of artist and that energy that I was talking about, where you're getting the advice to get comfortable with treating people the way that they deserve, especially if you've always been uncomfortable rocking the boat. If that feels impossible to you, the advice, that's what the Lenormand is saying. If it feels impossible for you to rock the boat, if it feels impossible for you to match energy, if it feels impossible for you to stand up to this energy, or even if what feels impossible is the second scenario we were talking about with this energy, where it's about you communicating effectively, internal guidance. That clouds then would represent, the clouds here represents whether it's the first or second scenario that we were talking about here. Clouds is representing the struggle, the thing that clouds your approach to this energy, the struggle of your approach to this energy, and the advice being the trust of self in the maneuvering of handling this energy, because it is something that clouds who it is that you are. It clouds not only your judgment, but it's here in front and center. It clouds who you are. It clouds, and that's why this is a challenging energy. So whether it's a specific person who clouds your existence in a specific environment, or whether it's, you know, your struggle to communicate, and that's something that clouds your existence, this idea, if it's that second bit where you're struggling to communicate with others, and the solution is to, you know, the self. It's that cliche, be yourself. No. But honestly, no, yeah, kind of, because it's in the comfort of the self that you will come across in a genuine way when you communicate. So in the struggle of how to, if you struggle to communicate yourself effectively, it's in trusting yourself and just being yourself and honing in on yourself and getting to know yourself. And then when you speak surely of yourself, it's in doing that you'll come across in a genuine way, and people will understand. The right people who are meant to understand what you have to say will understand it, because it's coming from a genuine place, and genuine people will understand that, will recognize that. There you go, that's what I was trying to say. The key to your success in this scenario we have the all reversed, 2 of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, and the 8 of Cups. Give me a second to read these. So I'm not looking at the images in these cards as much as I'm looking at the numbers and the suits, and that's simply because that's how the message came across to me. 2 of Pentacles, 2 coins, and so 2 options. 2 options that we're weighing. And on the one hand, we have Wands energy, which is, if not spiritual energy, it's inner fire. Just that like inner energy that gets us going. It's motivating energy, moving energy. And that's one of the options. The other option is emotions, cups. So we're weighing our passion against our emotion. Your key to success in this energy is to weigh very carefully your passions against your emotions. And what that tells me is to not let your emotions get the better of your passions. Don't allow for this this is a specific person who's a very challenging person, and however they affect your life, don't allow for them to get the better of your emotions and strike your passions. Don't let them cause that imbalance. The key to your success is an effective dispensation of both your emotions and your passions. And sometimes the most effective dispensation is no dispensation at all. And why I'm saying that is because they're reversed. So it's blocked, it's stopped. And so if it's not, let me just break it down clearly. If we're talking about someone specifically, if this energy is if this reading is about someone specific, the advice here is twofold. A, be mindful that this person doesn't get the better of your emotions and they don't get a rise out of you, they don't get an overreaction out of you. B, understand that, okay, I'm really struggling here, but okay. Part of that A, where it's like, understand that it's about not letting them get a rise out of you. And attached to that is also this idea of the power of not giving someone the reaction that they want, and that being part of your winning strategy, the non-reaction. So that's part A of the advice. You not reacting to this person, you not letting them get a rise out of you. And B, in doing that, in stopping yourself from reacting, in the silence per se, you'll learn how to better handle this person. Whether it's just that in you not reacting, you see how effective that is and that's just your winning strategy now, or in doing that, you'll notice the right thing. You'll notice they say the right thing or they do the right thing, and now you have that one thing that you need in order to win. There's something for you to gain in inaction, in you not acting and you not reacting to this person. So that's the advice for you there. Your key to success, if this is a person, a specific person, a difficult person, don't react the way that they want you to. Don't let them get a rise out of you, and understand that there's something for you to gain in you not reacting. Pay attention. Pay attention to how this person reacts to you not reacting, and in that is your key to success against this person. So, okay, if this was about a person, a specific person, that was your reading, I'll catch you for the next one. Now, if this is about you, if this energy, the challenging energy, is about you having a hard time communicating your ideas, what this is saying is you do need to take some time away from people. So you see how this, I said I wasn't using images, but then I saw it. To people in close communication. So that's reversed. So like before you do that, before you come into close communication with other people, address, like what I'm seeing with all of this is that you might get a little too excited, and that's why you struggle to communicate effectively, because your passions are so overwhelming that they're coming up like reverse, and your emotions are so overwhelming that they're coming up reverse. And it's not that they're a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that you're so passionate or that you're so excited. Those aren't bad things. They're really good things. We need that. You need that. That's a really good thing. Please don't ever lose that. But what the advice now is that you need to take those beautiful, wonderful gifts and now share them with people. And the thing is that people don't move as fast as you do. People don't think as big as you do. And it's not that you're better, it's not that you're bigger, it's not that you're smarter. It's just that, like us all, you need to now learn how to meet others where they are. Each of us is different in our own way, and each of us has to figure out how to gauge where we're at with other people to effectively communicate. It's just that some of us, like yourself, struggle more than other people, and that isn't an opinion on you. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or that you're different. All it means is that in this go of life, you were meant to struggle to communicate. That's okay. Some people in this go of life are really effective communicators, like this challenging energy in that first aspect, even if that wasn't applying to you. So it's just, before you communicate, address, okay, basically what this is saying, like I said, don't lose it, but understand that in your excitement, that's where things might get lost in translation. So you would benefit from taking some time to really think about what it is that you want to say before you say it. Basically drafting what it is that you want to say. And maybe it's not, maybe you don't have to do this every single time you want to talk to someone, but maybe it's more so about, like, okay, one of the ways that you strike conversation with people is, to talk about mutual interests. So learn how to talk about your interests in an articulate way. In a way that is understood. So, I don't know, maybe hop on YouTube and listen to other people talk about it, because YouTubers want views, and so they learn how to communicate their ideas as effectively as possible. And not just YouTubers, but like all speakers. So like, just listen to other people talk about their interests, and if you can find people talking about your interests, the better. And just that, get, and maybe start to get into like news of this thing so that you can bring that up. And then it's about that. It's about doing the research before you go and communicate to people in order to effectively communicate. I hope this helped. I'll catch you for the next one.